I will just spend a few minutes talking about some of the science from our most recent report, the report on the physical science of climate change that came out in August. That report was really just remarkably received. I think it hit at a time where we were in the run-up to COP. We were all experiencing extreme events around the world. And for some reason, it seems like people are really listening to the science. So let me share just a few points and then maybe end with some hopeful remarks. So our latest report shows that climate change is widespread, rapid, and intensifying. We know unequivocally that human activities have warmed the planet, with impacts from climate change occurring on scales greater than the Earth has experienced in the last hundreds of years, but in some cases, thousands of years. And this is the strongest language the IPCC has ever used to describe the connection between human activities and climate change. These changes, as we all know, are being felt in every region of the world. In fact, I want to highlight the greater focus on regional information in this report, because about 40% of the report is dedicated to regional changes and talking about regional impacts that are likely to be driven by climate. So this includes, for the first time, an online interactive atlas that contains the data that we used in the report. So this means that anyone with an internet connection can use this atlas to perform their spatial and temporal analysis at a regional level. And that's kind of the democratization of data, and we're very proud of that. The report also establishes even stronger causal links between human activity and extreme climate events, many of which we saw in that video, and they are intensifying. So as the climate continues to change, the world experiences more frequent and extreme events such as heat waves, storms, floods, and droughts. And finally, this report affirms that the Earth has already warmed about 1.1 degrees C above pre-industrial times, with every decade bringing more record-breaking temperatures. This is an undeniable and frankly alarming trend. Keeping 1.5 degrees C alive is so important. We hear it in every conversation here. And I just want to say it's still possible, but it requires us to enact rapid, large-scale reductions in the emissions of all greenhouse gases and to reach net zero CO2 emissions by mid-century. If we don't, we will surpass not just 1.5 degrees C of warming, but even 2 degrees C or higher of warming by the end of this century, which raises the risk of severe climate impacts across this planet. But let's talk about the positive signs. Let's talk about hope. So I want to just say, it is possible to keep to 1.5 degrees and to avert the worst impacts of climate change if we act now. And I just also want to say that even here in the first week of COP, I see many reasons for optimism. First, from a scientific perspective, I don't hear people questioning whether climate change is happening. I think the science has really stuck, and people are not asking, is that real? They're asking, what can we do about it? And how can we act together to solve the problem? I am encouraged by the pledges that have been made of support and commitments this past week. The commitment on deforestation and the commitments on methane, they are really monumental. And the amount of financing that is being pledged to help developing countries deal with this issue is astounding. And I have real faith that the pressure is on and we are going to actually make some transformational change. And then maybe lastly, I'll just say, and John, you referenced this in your introduction, you know, we are really hearing the voices of many more people in this conversation. I was talking earlier as we were preparing for this panel, the IPCC had to hold a virtual approval session in order to approve our report. And we thought that was going to be a tremendous challenge. It turned out we had so many more developing country representatives able to participate because we were doing it virtually. And that enhanced the diversity of our conversation. It helps us to embrace the perspectives from every side that we need to consider as we come up with the best solutions for climate. So with that, I just want to say I'm so happy to have been here today with you and to join this illustrative panel and to listen to what follows. Thank you.